Well, Tom,
I believe the lawyers were supposed to take care of the phone pole, and they just didn't do it.
It's not exactly.
Did we decide not to do it?
That's not exactly. No, that's not. I think we need to back up and revisit the origin of the phone pole. The phone pole began as a question that was asked to the folks at the Department of Education when we were on a conference call with them. Because if you know, down at the bottom of 22.1-25, it just vaguely says evidence of local support. So in talking with the attorneys and pretty much anybody else that had bothered to consider it, one of the pieces of evidence of local support was whether or not the four bodies passed the resolution. But the question was posed to the DOE folks as to, is there something else that they would like to see as evidence of local support? And the answer we got quite literally was 3 or 4 seconds of silence, followed by a poll might be okay. So that phone pole all along was something that was designed to be a supplement in what we submitted to the DOE. And I'll go ahead and take ownership of that. I've tried to explain that to folks along the way, that it was not ever supposed to be something that we were to receive in advance of a vote to inform the bodies as to, where the support lay.
But
yeah.
But Jonathan Griff mentioned that we should have a poll or some kind of community response months ago. Months.
Absolutely.
And so therefore, why couldn't we have had it done? Because, our people are saying to us, why wasn't it done? Like Tom said. And I've been getting that too.
Yeah, the best answer I can give you is what our basic requirement to the consultants, the folks at Troutman, as to when to pull the trigger on the poll was our request was it shouldn't be done in advance of any public release of all of the information and or the proposals that we would be submitting to the individual bodies. Because obviously if you conduct a poll in advance of the document release to the public, then what exactly are you asking the public to judge? Just their thoughts and emotions, absent of the facts.
No, I thought you said that it should be done after these were done, and it shouldn't be done after the information was given to the public.
I think the primary concern, Jonathan, especially from the city's end, is just that we haven't heard any concrete plans as to when or how this is going to occur. Sort of, what are the questions going to be? When is the target date for it to start? When is any information going to be put out? Like, hey folks, you can expect it. It's not a robocall, it's a survey call. It's to assess this. It's kind of in crickets. I think that's the
information. Go ahead, Jacob.
I can help answer that. Like Mr. Aaron said, the poll is done by a third party. It's not somebody we've been in communication with at all. It's somebody that the attorneys have been in communication with.
Jacob, you're the client. We are the client. We have the right to ask, what is the engagement? When is the engagement occurring? Those are reasonable expectations.
I would say so.
I think we can follow up. We can follow up on that, but right. I don't think
we were told that
at all, but
it wouldn't be the last thing that the lawyers didn't answer.
So, just 2 cents, and this is my unsolicited 2 cents. We are paying good money. It's not our money, it's state money, but it is taxpayer money. And these are not cheap services. So it is our incumbent responsibility to hold the law firm, to hold any consultants that they use, or anything like that, accountable for making sure that they're communicating or giving us solid timelines or giving us information.
Absolutely. And it is part of the plan that's going to go to the Board of Education. And like Mr. Aaron said, we told them, we wanted all the information to be out, and they absolutely demanded that all the information be out so that people could have something to actually base their polling off of. All of this is information has just come out. There are still crazy rumors out there and things, that people are starting to, and if you see what people are writing on social media and stuff about this poll, they act like it's something that we just drummed up. It's something that has nothing to do with local results. I mean, it is a thing for the state by an outside source that is going to give the state an idea.
Your information coming from a source of authority, that's what's going to happen. So again, I think that goes back to what the mayor said of the transparency and the level of communication.
Amen.
Well, the transparency. Go ahead, Mr. Tucker.
Well, the thing of it is that this was asked about months in advance. Griff, I don't know how long ago he asked about this, and basically, if we didn't get on that right at that particular time, I mean, we could have given them all the information that we needed. Maybe we waited too long, maybe that, but it's something that the lawyers needed to take a look at. And to be basically right with you, there are several questions that they never did answer that I asked. So, I'm just thinking to myself, one useless man is a disgrace to a law firm.
As it relates to the poll, the only criteria that I was a part of any communication of was that we asked that the poll not be executed until the official presentation of our committee's work. And then obviously there is a requirement for that poll. Then obviously there is a requirement for that poll to be conducted prior to our submission to the Department of Education. So those were the only two requirements that, one is an obvious requirement, and the other was one that we imposed that I think most people would consider to be, a pretty straightforward requirement. So if we want to inquire as to the timing of it between now and the submission to the DOE, there's absolutely no reason that we can't, to Ms. Oneidas' point. So I think if there was some confusion as to the execution of that poll, I'll go ahead and take ownership of that, at least to some degree. But I think to Jacob's point, there at least was some desire from some of us involved to not make this something that we were calling the shots on. This was supposed to be something done by an outside third-party firm that the local folks here did not have really much measure of control, other than to say, let's not do this before we've presented all of our findings and recommendations. So that's quite literally the only three points that were discussed in any detail were those three.
And Jonathan, I agree, but instead of us trying to figure out who needs to fall on a sword, let's just go ahead and follow up and get the ball rolling, and let's continue to try to map out what offshoots of subcommittees we may need. Griff brought up a great one. Mr. Tucker and others are willing to help assist and further those, and let's just keep the ball rolling so that we don't potentially jeopardize any support, because we're going to need a lot of support for capital. We're going to need a lot of support for just educational guidelines. We're setting a lot of new ground here, so.
Absolutely. But no, to follow up on, if it's the committee's desire to sort of have a time frame as to when that poll is going to be executed, it is completely within our right to find that out. I would encourage everyone to think deeply about what some of the other dominoes may be that would fall from that.
It's not going to make any difference whether we do it now or not. If we do it now, we pass the vote. So, it's already been, voted on, and we voted to merge. Ergo, we have to go on and do whatever we can in order to make this the best merger possible. And that's what I'm working on right now, and to make sure that it is fair and equitable to all parties concerned.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
All right, so what we will do is we'll check in with the attorneys, find out what's going on with the poll, find out the timing,
That's amazing.
and we'll report back to the committee on that.
Hey, Jacob, I want to talk some more.
Half at a time.
So, we talked about the poll, and we got way far off in the weeds on that than we needed to be, but, you know, the transparency, the communication are big issues with me. People come up to me and they come with rumors, and nothing's changed. We still have the same plan we had 3 weeks ago. We're not closing any schools, we're not doing, you know, there's nothing changed. But we're not communicating that. People are not hearing that. I think we need to, we have 3 media people here. We've got the Virginia Review, we've got Big Al's there with the radio station, and Jerry's still here with the Allegheny Journal. Guarantee you any of the 3 of them will let somebody do an interview any day they want to do an interview. We could, 2 of us could go, or 2 of you could go and have a back and forth on camera about what's going on and where we're at. The lack of information is one of our biggest problems. You know, we went through the vote, man, and you know, I got beat up a little harder than some people just because of the way the vote turned out. But I don't need to be beat up. We need to tell people what's going on and do this in an orderly fashion that we get the right information to the right people at the right times. We haven't been doing that, and we need to change.
Hey, Tom.
I'll be quiet now.
Tom, this is Big Al. I'm sorry to butt in here for just a second, but I wanted to ask a question. Is there any way possible we can get a joint statement from you guys on the movement forward? I mean, that just like Alan said, you know, now is the time for us to band together to create a plan that's equitable for all of us. And I think that's something that the citizens need to hear, because they're not hearing that right now.
We can definitely work on something, but you know, Tom, to be quite honest, you know, I think there are a lot of people that are not worried about the whole facts and the whole story. You know, that are going to create these rumors, and you know, we're never going to make everyone happy. Personally, I try to stay away from social media and things for a week.
I'm not trying to make people happy, Jacob. I'm trying to give them good information. If you don't give them good information, you will get stories, you will get rumors, you will get stuff made up because we're not telling them what's going on. They're not getting good information.
How would you like to get them good information?
I just told you that Al, Jerry, Daryl will do interviews. Heck, I like to get good information sometimes. I don't feel like I'm as informed as I need to be sometimes. You know, it's just the way we've done things. I'm not happy with the way we've communicated.
Maybe we do a model similar to what we kind of did with the task force when they were meeting all the time. When the full committee meets, maybe afterwards there's just a brief kind of like couple bullet points that go out on to all the local media, and we put it on our social media pages of just this was what was discussed in case you missed it. And it's just an opportunity of a couple bullets, highlights. Here's our next step. You know, next step, main takeaway tonight, figure out polling and reconvene some subcommittees. And there was an executive committee created.
Yeah. And along those same lines, now that this has passed, and I've heard Mr. Tucker and Erica both today say that they voted against it, but now that it's passed, they want to be a part of the process.
Right.
There are other people that were against it that want to be a part of the process, and I'm all in favor of bringing some of those people on. There's a couple of teachers at Covington that have communicated with me a lot. That now that this part of it is moving forward, they want to be a part of the committees, they want to be a part of the process. So I think it's a good time to bring some other people into the committees that have a whole lot more understanding of education than we that are on this committee have.
Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons the sports subcommittee came about. I mean, that's that's a start, and we can start pulling more people in and get them to be brand. Deep in the weeds, but until the thing was voted on.
And we need some educators on that, both from the county and the city, on the curriculum committee.
Right. Correct.
I think it was said best. We have an opportunity now to create a fantastic school system, and we need to take advantage of that. Working.
That are now willing to work towards creating a better system, and I think that's what we need, and that's how we have success in this.
Okay, well, guys, I would like to say I appreciate this, but I have a 7 o'clock meeting that I've got to get to on Zoom as well. So,
well, we're about wrapped up. It's October 15th. Is that good for?
It's good for me as long as it's not the second or the fourth Thursday.
Okay. One thing, Mr. Tucker, is we need to do our bills and our minutes.
Okay.
Tom, is that October 5th? Are you feeling?
I'm good.
I'm good. Let's pay the bills.
All right. Everyone should have the bills. Had a chance to read over all of the bills and the minutes.
As long as
make a motion, we pay them.
Have a motion by Mr. Gart. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Tucker. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Ms. Armstrong, is that the end?
We need to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Right.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can the media get copies of the approved minutes?
Yes.
Certainly.
Yep. All right. Well, if there's no other business to be brought before the committee, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Tucker, second by Mayor Seiwald. You all take care. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
I'm Debbie Fleshman. I'm a nurse practitioner at Alliance Express Urgent Care in Covington. We are currently available to test anybody with symptoms of fever, fatigue, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, or any symptoms that are concerning for COVID-19, flu, or strep.